to have you all. If you don't have audio, make sure that you are calling in right here. And just to make sure everyone can hear me, please press 1. Press 1 if you can hear me. And y'all are pressing 1. All right, great. Let's get started. So what we're going to talk about today is how to write better recruitment emails. If you have just heard that and are thinking to yourself, that is not the training that I wanted to do, then feel free to jump off now, or you could still stay on with us. Perhaps you might learn something. I just want to talk a little bit about what's some good best practices for recruitment emails that we know from looking at the landscape of all the other folks who are running similar email programs to ours, and also show you what we know works on the AFL-CIO's email list. So I'm just going to hop right in. In today's training, we're actually not going to have a PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you from emails that are coming into my email inbox and into others' email inboxes. So, So this email, so it's going to take just a second. I'm going to show you one. I see a lot of emails that look like this. And press 1 if you can see the emails. You should be able to see them. Just want to make sure press 1 if you can see those emails. Great. Awesome. So this is, kind of a newsletter style email by a small organization in Maryland that works on racial justice and LGBT issues, stuff like that. So this is is what their email looks like. Have other you seen emails like this? Press 2 if you too have seen emails that look like Equality Maryland's emails. 2 of you seen some emails look like this. Press 2, press 2, press 2. Great. So yeah, so you'll know that they are doing some recruitment here, but they're also doing a bunch of other things. They're selling some T-shirts. They are asking folks to donate to their Amazon Smile, right? They're also recruiting for a couple of events in a couple of different places. So there's a film screening, there's some parties and celebrations, a lot of stuff going down. So for them, it's like, let's talk to you about all the different events that we're doing. And you'll note that they have a link to a page for people to RSVP, picture, prominent location information. So all of those things are really good. But what I'll say about this email, which is not a bad email by any means, is there's some ways that they could have improved that email that I want to talk about. And here's the first way I want to talk about it. Note that they have different folks getting this email. But I live in Washington, D.C., and I got this email. So a thing that I want to recommend that we recommend here at the AFL-CIO as a best practice for recruitment is to target your emails. If you know somebody lives in Baltimore or lives close to Baltimore, they should get an email for a Baltimore event. If you know someone lives close to, and especially in states where you live, in a big state, it doesn't make sense, say, if you are in California, to just send every event that is going on in California in one email, because that is a very, very large state. So it can be hard to know. And it's also possible that you have people on your list that don't live in that area. In fact, you should assume that you do. So I'm also signed up for the Nevada AFL-CIO's email list. And I get emails all the time recruiting me to come to events in Nevada. But I'm probably never going to come to an event in Nevada. So because I live in Washington, D.C. So you also want to make sure that, and if you use Salsa, this is so possible in Salsa, you can target by zip code, and you can even say, I want to send within X number of miles on a particular email. So I would really recommend targeting those emails. And it does mean that you might need to send, multiple versions if you have multiple events going down. But let's say you don't have enough time to do that. Let me show you another option. Something like this. Just wait 1 second as it switches. And I totally understand that you can't Can everyone see that? I totally understand that you don't always have a lot of time to do emails. So what I would recommend is if you have to send multiple events in an email just because you don't have a ton of time, I would adopt a clean format like this. Check it out. So this is Cory Booker for U.S. Senate, and it's a short thing. It says, tomorrow we're going to do this. They're very clear in the subject line. Tomorrow, here's what's going to happen. And it says, if you event, and very, very clean. Here's what's in Hackensack. Here's the address. Now RSVP. Here's what's in Elizabeth. Here's the address. Here is the time. Now RSVP. So super, super, super clear. Lots of events that they are recruiting for, and they could be recruiting for tons more, right? You could keep adding. They could have one in Trenton. They could, like whatever. They could have one in other parts of New Jersey, whatever, you can add as many as you wanted, but super, super clean. And what that does for the user is, even though there's a lot of events, it's very clear how they RSVP to join their event and what cities' events are. So you'll note that this is bolded, not a lot of bells and whistles here, and I really recommend that. You'll note that all this white space really just makes you focus on this big list. And they're just, it's like super clear what the lists are. And you'll note here it's like Hackensack, and then it's RSVP to join in Hackensack. So all of that helps make it very cohesive and clear. And that's really what you want to make sure you're doing when you ask people to RSVP for events. You want to make it so clear where everything is and how you RSVP. Other things distract, because what you want to be sure about in every single email is that you're getting people to take action. It's not just like, let's push this out, let's get this message out. It's also like you're doing this because you want people to come to your event. So you really want to prioritize in the layout of your email and also in your text, making sure that people RSVP. And I think this email does a great job. And it doesn't take any special coding ability. In fact, I think this email is going to be easier for you to put together than, say, that newsletter from Equality Maryland. And especially in these times now when we're trying to recruit often for, walks and phone banks that are happening all the time, or even just like meetings that are happening every week, this is a super clear way to make that happen. Not trying to recruit for multiple events. What if you're just trying to recruit for one event? Let's talk about that. So this is an email that we sent to a group of folks who had RSVP'd to an event that we were going in Detroit. And these are people who had already RSVP'd. So another best practice, in addition to super clean formatting and really emphasizing RSVP links, what I want to also say is a best practice for recruitment is to remind people. So if someone RSVP'd on them, and I really recommend multiple reminders. So an ideal format for you would be, if your meeting is, say, on Friday, a week out, you want to recruit for that email, or send an email to recruit for that event. So if the Friday before your meeting, you want to send it out. Then you want to send another reminder. Hey, just a reminder that this meeting is coming up, to people who haven't RSVP'd. And you want to send that probably like on Tuesday or Wednesday if the event is on Friday, so a couple of days before. Just a reminder that this meeting is coming up. And at this point, you're going to want to separate out people who have already RSVP'd and people who have not yet RSVP'd. People who have not yet RSVP'd should get another reminder like, hey, we want you to RSVP for this meeting. People who have RSVP'd should get an email that is kind of something like this: we can't wait to see you. And this email can even go out even closer to the event, actually. What I would recommend is, in addition to that, like a couple of days before, the day before, or even the hour or couple of hours before an event, you should send a reminder. And this is even true, we practice this in our trainings, in our Maestro training. So you RSVP'd, and then you got a follow-up about it, and then you got a follow-up yesterday, and then you got a follow-up in the last hour. So, and all of that is because the more you follow up with people, the more times you sort of touch people through email, the more likely you are to get RSVPs, and then actually to get attenders, because you don't just want people to RSVP, you also want them to attend. So we sent this email. Note again, lots of white space, super, super clear. And the most important thing that we do is address. We gave people important information. You get 2 free drinks. here's where you check in to make it even more clear. But again, we said if you can't do this, this is a thing that you should know. So, and you'll note that we gave people all the information. So this is all information they probably could have figured out themselves, but we want to make it as easy as possible for them to have a good experience at our event and to come. Another thing that has been shown through tests is that actually what this does is really help people to know that you have prepared for them and that you are ready to, and that makes them feel more like they Right? So in addition, just to go over that while we're going to prioritize RSVPs and get people to actually click the link to RSVP because what you really want to do is make sure that there's action. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, wow, simpler, the better. There we go. Just taking a second. And then the third thing is it's okay to put multiple events in an email, but if you're going to do that, really make sure that your format is clear so that it's clear where those events are, what the information is about them, and how to RSVP. And finally, when you get folks to RSVP, make sure that you are able to, can folks see that?
The screen has come back up. You might want to ask if everyone can.
Make sure that you are following up with them with multiple touches because the more reminders people got, the more likely they are to attend your event because really getting people to RSVP is just the first step. All right, so we have now an email up here from the Ohio Democratic Party. I want to make sure that everyone can see that. Can everyone see that? Press 1 if you can. Press 1 if you can see that email from the Ohio Democratic Party. Some of you can, more of you can. Good. All right, we're going to move forward then. Great, looks like folks can see it. So again, this is a totally different format that you'll see. Really short, really to the point. Hey, we need to get you going. That's all we need your help. Can you make phone calls? Here's a little more info. Can you do it? Click here to RSVP. So if we clicked on that link, let's see what it takes us. So this one is a little bit more of a text-heavy email. Sometimes, that can work. And if you're trying out different parts of your program, trying new formats and new things, a more text-heavy answer. I really recommend a less text in these kinds of instances, and I'll show you more of that. But if you're like, no, we really want to put more in, recommend something that looks like that. And you'll note that this takes you here to a page that asks people to RSVP. So again, you want to make sure you're taking folks to a page where they RSVP. So that's what the text-heavy version looks like. All right, how about something that is totally different? Check this one out. There's been some questions in the chat. So Corey asked, should we send a reminder to maybes? Absolutely send a reminder to maybes. In fact, maybes are probably the lowest hanging fruit for you, right? You already know that they're kind of interested. If they get another reminder, the likelihood that they're going to, attend even higher. Corey also asked, should we send a reminder to those who have opened the email but not responded? Absolutely. And again, those are folks that you already know that they might be interested. If they didn't respond, probably getting that extra, nudge will help out. And Corey says, should we remind people why the event is important in follow-ups? Yes, absolutely. I would definitely, especially with people that opened but didn't RSVP, or people that went to or people that have RSVP'd in the past but haven't RSVP'd this time. The more compelling and urgent you can make that ask, the more that they're likely to do that. And that's not true just in events, right? The more compelling and urgent we can make our asks generally in all of our emails, the more likely we are to see people take that action. So absolutely applies to RSVPs. You want to make sure to make it as compelling as possible. Corey says, do you suggest a second reminder email the night before or the day of the event? Yes, I do. Yeah, and as we went, yeah. So my full, if you have the luxury of doing this, my full sort of reminder sequence that I would recommend is, if an event it's on a 7-day calendar essentially, right? The event is on the 7th day. I recommend sending your first recruitment email 7 days out from your event, another recruitment email to people who have not yet RSVP'd 2 to 3 days out from the event, an email the night before to people who have RSVP'd, and even to people who have not yet RSVP'd by saying, this is tomorrow, are you sure, right? And to people who have already RSVP'd, something that says, just a reminder that, you RSVP'd for this event tomorrow. And then if you really want to get extra credit points, I would recommend doing the hour or 2 to 3 hours before. Hey, just a reminder that this event, that you RSVP'd for is in 1 hour or in 2 to 3 hours. So, that is the ideal scenario. If you can't get to that, I do recommend at least 2 emails recruiting for an event. One that is 7 days out and one that is the night before, because reminders are very important to people. All right, and so check this out. This is Wendy Davis' campaign in Texas. Totally different. More text, but what you'll note here that I think is really important is they really prioritize that event information over anything else and have that nice, big RSVP now button in red. So, this gives you the ability to have all of that text if you want that text, but also you don't even need to read it. What you can see is it's what, it's when, it's where, RSVP. So, this is a very traditional style of event reminders, and I recommend that. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to know what the event is, where it is, when it is, and RSVP. So really like the way that they pulled this out. And the thing that I like about this one in particular that I would say is it says you'll receive a call when it's time to join the discussion. So they make really clear that this is actually a telephone town hall that they're running online. So and I know some of you do teletown halls. So it just like with in-person events, they want to remind people where things are, but they make super clear that in this online event, this is what's going to happen to you. Where is it? You're going to get a phone call. So it's kind of wherever you are. A good one for those teletown halls, which I know a lot of people run. Okay, let's check this one out. This is an email from with Justice. Check it out a second. And a totally different style. They're recruiting for multiple events in this email. They also have some big pictures. So, totally different. I would say that if you're not as interested in getting folks to RSVP, and I wouldn't recommend that, but if you are, if that's just the reality of your program, but you are interested in sort of like making sure folks have the story, making sure people know what's going down, and it's part getting folks to RSVP, but also part just like making sure that people know what, your organization is doing, then this is probably a really good example of what kind of email that you could do. So you'll note that there's like a very prominent picture here, and they're playing a little bit with bold and with text, and they give a lot of information. So this is one way that you can structure your emails as well. All right, and then let's look at another email, and this is from Organizing for Action. Again, more of a text one. So this is a conference call that they're inviting people to go to, and this is just looks like a straight up email. They kind of tell the story and then say, hey, get on the call. Tell more of a story. Okay, are you going to get on the call? And that's to get people to RSVP. So I like this because it doesn't take anything special to write, one of these text emails. Super clean, no extra technical skills needed. If you know how to load up emails in Salsa, you know how to do this. And then it invites you to go in and get more information and to RSVP. So a little bit different. a thing that I will say about this is that, you want to think about different types of people on your list and different types of, so are some people going to respond more to pictures? Use pictures. Are some people going to respond more to text? Use text. Are some people going to respond more, to like what, why, when, where? Use that. And in particular, as you're thinking about the full sequence of emails that you're going to send to people, if you're going to do one email that is, this kind of text email, one email that is graphics, one email that is prioritizing more of that event information, what it gives you is like a different way to ask the same thing over and over again. So each of these formats can be a really helpful way to change it up and get more people interested depending on what kind of folks, they are. And so I would say another best practice is really make sure that you're thinking about all of the different kinds of format you can use to be sure to maximize your RSVPs. Let me show you what we use here at the AFL-CIO. So this is to recruit for an individual event. Wherever possible, I really do recommend recruiting for one event at a time and being really targeted. So these events all take place in the real world, right? in the not online world. And each of those events is in a place. So just target, that event to the folks on your list that you have zip codes for, that you know where they are, and show them something like this. So this is a single event, Rally for Fair Trade. The reason that I got this event is because it was an event close to me. Big, colorful text, big, prominent, where is it? And we asked them, can you make it? Yep, I can be there. We tell them a little bit more about the event. And we give another opportunity at RSVP. The reason that we use this is because it works. We tested multiple formats in our list. This is the format that works best for them. We continue to keep testing, but right now this is what's winning. So, we know that this works. Super easy way for you to get that information out there, put it in really quickly. And again, this doesn't take any special coding. What we, after this, after we have this template, we just change it up every time with those different words. And again, when you click on this, that sends you to a page that says, I can do it. You'll note that we don't give people the ability to say no. They can't be there. That is not an accident. We do that because we want people to say yes. So we want to prime them a little bit by saying yes. Yes, I'll be there, definitely. That's what we want. We want people who are going to say yes. And let me show you another email. This email, it's from a friend of mine who is running for state assembly in the Bronx. He does not have, special folks helping him out, but so this is absolutely something I know you can do. He's not an email expert by any means, but, does know that he can get more people off of email. So you'll note, here we go, logo, a little bit of information, check it out. This is Alfre Woodard. She's coming. You should come. Here's the info. This is a picture of Alfre, which I think is really smart. Can't attend, you can still donate. So that is one other thing that you can do is maybe people can't attend, but you want them to try something else. So that's another option. And for Mike, what he really wants to do, he needs to raise money. So making it easy for them to donate. And you'll note that there are multiple links that you could click on to go and contribute. And I think that's really smart. They all go to the same places, right? In the top, it's RSVP. In the bottom, it's contribute. And usually I don't recommend that there are more than one ask in an email. Usually I recommend that no matter where you're linking to, it's always linking to the same place. But in this case, because Mike really, 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 really needs to raise money, I think it's right. So what I would say is if you're going to do something like this where it's please come to the event in this top half and please donate in this bottom half, if you're doing something different, it better be something that is just as important as attending that event. And again, if you have questions along the way, feel free to press 2. Press 2 if you have questions. We can actually mic you. All right. So this is a totally different style of email that I want to show you. And just to go over again, our best practices so far. 1, make sure you prioritize RFP and actually give people a 2, play with format, because different formats work for different folks, and you want to make sure that you're squeezing as many RSVPs out of your emails as possible. 3, we absolutely encourage sending reminders. We encourage sending reminders to recruit initially, and then 3 to 4 days out, and then 1 to 2 days out, and then maybe even 1 to 2 or 3 hours out of that email. So send as many reminders. The more reminders you do, the more RSVPs you get. And 4, think about what you really want folks to do. Do you want them to RSVP for the event? If they can't RSVP to the event, is there something as important that you could get them to do? Add that in. And also, you really want to make sure that you're thinking about format. Format really matters. Design really matters. You want to make it super clear for folks, easy to read, don't want it to be too busy. And again, those just go back to our basic principles of graphic design. If you want to know more about that, we have a training called Basic Principles of Graphic Design that you can find on our site at AFL-CIO.org/digital trainings that I think is really helpful. And I also want to make a plug here for our other email trainings. We have lots of email trainings about segmentation, about emails generally, sort of our best practices around emails, and about online to offline organizing, all which, absolutely can help plug in even more what is the best way to write recruitment emails. So again, AFL-CIO.org/digital trainings. Highly recommend you getting on those and doing those trainings if you haven't already. So this is an email from MoveOn. You'll see that MoveOn sent an email out. And here's the thing I really like about this. This is a reminder email. So this is the initial that said, Adam O'Neill, he's marching, he's going to join, and he'll join the Medicaid, and then asking you to get on the Medicaid rally. And then they ask, here's like all the info, here's the story about who Adam is and what he's going to do. And then you'll note this top, which says, update, Reverend William J. Barber II, architect of the Forward Together Moral Monday Movement and president of the North Carolina NAACP, will be joining this rally for Medicaid at the U.S. Capitol. Just a reminder, this event is Monday, July 28th at 11:30. If you can make it, please be sure to RSVP. So I really like this option. When there are special people or special events or just something that you think is really important to add to the event, send out another email. Ask those folks to join in. So really love this one. Think it's a great reminder. So those are all my examples. I would love to answer any questions that you have, or I'd love to hear about what you all are doing on your own programs right now for RSVP, what kind of events you're recruiting for, what kind of challenges you have when you do recruit for events, how you're currently running your program. Press 2 if you want to share some of what you're doing, or if you have a question, or if there's a particular challenge that you have right now that you could use some advice on. Press 2, would love to talk more about that.
Okay, Corey, go ahead.
Hit it, Corey.
Sorry I'm monopolizing. I hope someone else will jump in with questions, but until they do, I have a couple of quickies.
Yeah, you are, absolutely, ask away.
Well, first, thanks for doing this. Can I ask what you know about best practices for subject lines and signatures of people, even if the recipients don't necessarily know who those signers are? And, yes, of course, the from line. Can you talk to us about best practices in those ways?
Yes,
please.
And absolutely. And the thing that I would absolutely say, Corey, that I would really recommend is we go in depth on subject lines, design, format, signatures, a bunch of those types of things in our email training. So I would really recommend checking that out.
There's a separate training.
There is, yeah. There's another training that's just on kind of basic email that isn't focused on recruitment that I would definitely recommend checking out if you're interested in diving deep like that.
Great.
It's chock full of info that we know from testing and best practices that I think is a great training. What I can.
I don't mean to.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. That is no.
You advertise, but can I ask, do you have one of those coming up in the near future?
No, but we have a video of that training itself. So,
oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So you could just, you can watch the video, and the PowerPoint as well. And that's AFL-CIO.org/digital trainings. But a thing that I can say, here's some things that we know about events and subject lines. So you'll know in our email, I'm just going to go back to that AFL-CIO email that I showed everybody. Give me 1 second. This one? Nope. Another one. Hang on, give me one moment. So here we go. This is our event. No, it's not.
Don't spend time on this.
No. This is something. This is absolutely something I want to show you. So it's not a problem at all. Oh, here we go. Here it is. There we go. All right. So you'll note that in this email we actually do not have it from a sender. It's from the AFL-CIO. And the reason for that is what we found when we tested people against that, or a person's name. Like, so it would be like Corey, just from Corey, or just from Corey, AFL-CIO, or just from the AFL-CIO. What's AFL-CIO? On event emails particularly, that's why we do it on this one. You'll also note that we have a subject line here that says Wednesday in Washington, D.C., rally for fair trade. Also testing. We tried things like rally for fair trade, or Wednesday in Washington, D.C., or in Washington, D.C., or Wednesday, rally for fair trade. We tried a bunch of different things, and what won was this particular combination: day, city, a little bit of information about it. So highly recommend both of those things. That's what worked for our list. We also really tested this format up. We tested yes and no. We tested just yes. We tested this being really big or this being really big. We tested this being longer or shorter. We tested this and then adding this or just this by itself. So all of this, the reason that we added all of these is for our list, this is what worked. What worked was multiple options for having folks RSVP, big, gigantic text, and sending directly just from an organization and with a subject line that looks like this. So highly recommend, you can straight up copy this format. And if this is a thing that you are interested in, we're happy also to give people this template in their salsa chapters. If you're on salsa, to syndicate this down, and then you can just copy over and over again. If that is helpful to you, we're more than happy to give people the ability to do that. Corey, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Awesome. Let me know if you have more questions.
And then signature down at the bottom, does it matter who it's from? So
you'll note that we actually do not have a signature in this email. That's by design. In this case, what won was no signature. In our other emails that we do, we usually have a signature, and we have a couple of best practices around that. One, don't put a picture, because not everyone enables pictures, and so in particular that picture of like sometimes people do a picture of someone's actual signature or a picture of like the person. We tested those on our list and they didn't work. Obviously what works for every list is a little bit different, but like for us, just didn't work. But we do recommend that people, if the email is from someone, we recommend that you say, just as you would in a normal letter or normal communication, like, that you close it out with a salutation. So in our case, what we always say is in solidarity and then the person's name. And we use our first name, which we found is actually helpful. It is just a little more casual and personal. We always are trying to be, very personal, like a friend. That's our general orientation. But on these event emails, because they're just from the AFL-CIO, we don't like sign it AFL-CIO, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Other questions, press 2. Are there any particular challenges that you have? If you don't ask questions, I will just call you out. So I'm going to unmute Lorraine. Lorraine, you are getting unmuted. Tell me what you were hoping to get from this training. If there's any big questions you have, how you're currently doing recruitment, talk to me. Let me know. What's up? Lorraine, are you there? No? All right, Lorraine. I won't put you on the spot. How about you, Molly? Molly, you're getting unmiked.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Molly.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So we're doing more of the newsletter format, like Jobs with Justice.
Yep.
Which was the 2 photos with the content, and we try to focus on one piece of content, and then we have other things that are not as significant ranked underneath.
And are you tracking? I think email. Are you tracking what if people are on?
Yeah,
we're
tracking, and we're actually getting very good open rates. I mean, our open and click-through rates are well above 20%, sometimes 30 and 40.
And sorry, is that true about open, 20 to 40, and click-throughs are 20 to 40? Is that what you're seeing?
The opens are higher than the click-throughs, but everything lately has been above 20%. So the opens are high. They would be in the 40% range. And then the click-throughs would be maybe the high 20s.
That's great. Wow. Trying to find that email. There we go. There it is. Yes. So, talk to me. I'm trying to bring up that Jobs Justice email. Compared to that Jobs
single, right? We do a single, when it comes up.
Yeah.
That top event with the poster on the right. We would pick one item, like our contract just settled, so obviously that was a big one.
Yep.
So we had a picture saying contract ratified and all the statistics, and then they could click through to our website to get all the details.
Great.
We had a contract calculator so people could calculate their retro. So we would make it like we'd have a main story like that. And then down below, we have a lot of other things that we offer. I mean, there's, Primary Day coming up, Labor Day Parade, the education opportunities for members. So we would do kind of little bullet points on those.
Yep.
So there's always one lead story.
Yep. So a question I have for you all is, are you just recruiting for multiple events at one time, or are you ever recruiting for just one event?
Sometimes it's one event, but lately, usually in the fall, it's multiple events.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things in the evening. We have parades, protests, this and that. So usually, every time there's a few.
And Molly, where are you from?
New York City.
Okay, great. And do you work for the New York State Fed? Is
From
that
AFC, DC 37 AFC.
AFC DC 37. Okay, great. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a sense of what type of program you're running for.
It would be nice for us to get that template, the one that you've tested with the button.
Yeah. So so here's what I'll say about that, probably just to make it easier this way. That way, I definitely respond to you. My email is jmorales@aflcio.org. If you email me about the template, I'll make sure that gets syndicated down to your chapter for sure.
Okay.
Okay, great. And that's a thing for anyone. Molly, so a question I have is, are your events are always in New York City? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's where our membership is concentrated.
Yep, exactly. Do you guys do any segmenting of the list at all, where the event is in the Bronx and you're sending folks who are in the Bronx? The event is in Midtown, you're sending folks who are in Midtown. Is that a thing that you do, or is it always just?
We haven't really done that because it's usually citywide. So it's like open to any member who wants to come. So we do broadcast it, and we also have AFC affiliates that get our emails other parts of the country, and I think it's to get ideas rather than that they're going to come to the event. But they like to see them so that they can maybe get ideas for how to do their salsa blast.
Yeah, totally.
So we haven't really segmented. We've sent to the entire list.
Great. That's super helpful. One thing that about the way that we are working on emails. Let me bring this one up. Is this so? For instance, and we do this. We live every week with events. We get 50 different events. They're all over the place. And what we do is really make sure that we're targeting out to folks who are actually close to those areas because they could actually attend. And again, that's because our orientation is like we're trying to make sure that people get these, that people actually RSVP. Because a piece that, that we have here, and I'm sure all of you have this, is that there are a lot of things to talk to people about all the time. And so, the more information that you put in, the less people will actually do that. And that's a principle that's called the paralysis of choice. The more choices people have, the less likely they are to make any choice. So instead of making one choice, what they'll do is just make no choice. And we really want people to make a choice. So we do, we really try and segment our list to make sure that we're able to give, to some folks the ability to say, yes, I want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. And they might get, and a thing that we really do is really use click-throughs to track that. So, if we know that you never open up our emails, we probably don't want to send you an event reminder because it seems unlikely that you're going to attend an event if we can't even get you to open up an email, right? But if you click on our emails all the time, those are exactly the kind of folks you really want to hone in on and send them those event emails, because if they're willing to click on your email links, then they might be willing to do even more for you. And you want to continue to ask them to do more for you because you already know, based on the fact that they took action, that they're more likely to take action. For us, that's on our list. That's been the single greatest predictor of whether or not someone will do something. Like, have you taken action? You will probably take it again. So, really recommend checking out our segmenting training from before. We really are trying to push folks towards a place of segmentation. I see a lot folks really, they're just blanketing their lists all the time with everything. And that happens in a bunch of different ways, right? But especially when an event is in a specific location, it can be really helpful to hone in on who on your list is on that location and go right to that. Let me show you this email, which I don't know where Hudson Valley. Yep, it's in New York. So this is an email that they are using, and again, we gave everyone of the state of the AFL-CIOs, CLCs, and state feds this. So if you are a state fed and CLC on the phone who's like, I like that logo, we'd like something like that, we're happy to make that happen. And I like this picture, that's really cute. And then they're telling everyone, we're going to do this thing. So the only thing that I would say about this email that I think could really improve it is that what if somebody doesn't know what the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is? When you're sending events, you do really want to make sure to be clear what it is, right? What you're asking people to do. But love the way that they gave all of this information and gave people, there's some urgency here. You should RSVP because we have to order bags of ice. The only thing is also make super clear via testing what things look like. So these, in an otherwise really awesome email, there's a bunch of kind of bizarre icons. But otherwise, super great email. Really like that. Really like how clear and clean everything is. More questions? Press 2 if you have questions. Press 2. Okay, great. Well, I think we're going to end just a little bit early then. Thank you so much for hopping on, everyone. Let me remind you again of my email, jmorales@aflcio.org. And a couple of things that you can be sure to ask me for. If you want the email template that I showed you, we'd be happy to syndicate that down to you. If you want this logo right here for if you're a state fed or CLC, we'd be happy to give that to you as well. If you're not a state fed or CLC and you want some help with your format, we could certainly also help you out too. We're happy to help affiliate locals as well. And really recommend, if you want to go even deeper on email best practices, not just for recruitment emails, but for everything, or you want to go deeper on the segmentation stuff I was talking about, go to aflcio.org/digital trainings, and you will find our past trainings there. They are awesome, if I do say so myself. And there's videos and PowerPoints, so it's just like taking the full training. So that's all for me today. there are more trainings to RSVP to as part of our 1U digital program. So AFL-CIO.org/digital trainings, and you'll be getting a survey from us about how this training went. Please make sure to fill it out. We really do use that feedback. Thanks so much for hopping on.